Hi everyone, how are you doing? I hope you are doing great. Happy Sunday. This is Petal. Welcome to Facts and Two Cents. As you know, we are a channel that's supposed to Duke and Duchess of Sussex, Harry, Meghan, Archie, Baby Lily, Mama Doria, Poola Guides, Chickens, and all of us here at Sussex Squad. Well, what has been going on? One of the things that I have been and I think all of us here at the squad has been kind of like focused on and really just saying, it's been karma. And as you know, me, I love the ancestors as well. They have not been shy about descending on Shutter Island. And I am like so happy for karma because with all the stuff that they have done to Harry and Meghan on Shutter Island, karma has come in and been like, you know what? You shall not pass. I love that. It was a Lord of the Rings when he put the staff in the ground, like, you shall not pass. And I'm so happy to see Karma step in and say, you're going to stop. You're going to leave Harry and Meghan alone. And so what I'm going to do today is just some of the people that Karma has descended on Shutter Island. And it's been wonderful to see how Karma has, and this is not by any means an exhaustive list. This is just some of them. But some of the people, as we know, we've talked about this in the last episode, they have been completely landed on them ever since, Kate decided to do her little publicity stunt at the flower show. Karma has come in and be like, oh no, Karma with the help of Charles and and Charles and Camilla are like, oh, you shall not usurp us publicity. And Karma has descended on the Middletons because we know what they have done and, allegedly have done to Harry and Meghan, and especially years and years and years, Megan got trashed about making Kate cry. And years that this woman has not cleared this up. She has not, let people know this is false. This is not true. And she allowed Megan to get abused for years with people with this nonsense about making her cry. When the fact of it is that she was being, um, basically a witch at Megan's wedding and at least the lead up to her wedding. And so, with all of the stuff that has happened and them cozying up to their tabloids, as you can see, I put their tabloid, I'm using their tabloids today. The same tabloids that they used to try to destroy Megan. I'm using the same tabloids on them because I guess she has not been feeding the beast. And you know what happens when they don't feed the beast? When they don't feed the tabloid beast. Recently Kate Middleton was supporting something from the Sun. They were doing something with one of her baby organizations that she worked with, and she put out a thing that she was supporting the Sun. I guess Daily Mail didn't take too kindly to that because they have been on her and her family. They have been humiliating them in the worst way, with their business party pieces. Well, one going out of business, being sold for only 130 million. I'm sorry, only 180. Or I'm sorry, 180 or 160, whatever it was, sold for 160,000 pounds, and now finding out that they are 2.6 million in debt, and all of these creditors, including the person who made Kate Williams' wedding cake, are out. They are basically bankrupt, and their business is basically bankrupt. And all of these small businesses that they owe all this money to, including the bank, and that the tax that the British people are going to be on the hook for. They they owe all of these people money, and it's just coming out, and it's nasty, and it's ugly, and it's embarrassing. And I'm telling you, karma is like, you have hurt Meghan enough. We are coming for you. And I suspect, obviously don't have any hard evidence, but I suspect some of those nasty Camilla Tominey articles were from Carol Middleton. And one of the things, again, no hard evidence, allegedly, I should say allegedly, were from her. And you know. And one of the things you notice, even with this whole embarrassing debacle with their company, is that she is the one that's under hook. They're not even naming her husband. They are not, even though like in here it says, fury as the Middletons, as the party pieces business goes bust with death of 2.6 million, disbelieving creditors talk of betrayal over collapse of firm run by Prince of Wales parents Carol and Michael. But the majority of people aren't really even focused on Michael. He is like there, but they're not. The mother is the one that's getting all the blame for everything and the humiliation. And she's the one that, they're like, oh, she's really sad that it's happened and all of this stuff. But again, karma. These people had an opportunity when Meghan was there to really welcome her and work together. I mean, together and be family. Meghan could have helped Kate so much in so many ways to have a voice. And the fact that Kate Carol Middleton and Michael Middleton they couldn't even pay. I mean, this is how far they're in debt. They couldn't even pay a $35,000 bill. This is a company that was supposedly making millions before, where they were able to buy these $1 million homes and apartments and go on mystique vacations and send their kids to all the best prep schools and all of those things. So this was a company that was doing all these great things. And all of a sudden, they can't pay a $35,000 bill. And all of these small businesses are now on the hook for, some of them, hundreds of thousands of dollars because of this. And again, including the taxpayers. So I'm telling you, I will always go back to how they treated Meghan, how they treated her. Now, nobody is having mercy on them. No one, is just embarrassing. And Daily Mail is just piling it on and on and on. And again, Daily Mail and Camilla are firmly in each other's pockets. So whether Camilla had anything to do with this, it looks again like a firm slap down from, after Kate was, feeling herself and went off on her little publicity flower show stunt. And ever since that time, it has not gone well for her at all. To the point where I saw an article today where they were criticizing her for, all of her, at least a third of her engagements are within 12 miles of Windsor. I mean, that's where it's getting. All of them, they're calling her a sloth or something, lazy. And they're going right back to Lazy Katie or whatever her name, her name was back, before Meghan came around. And whatever, Waity Katie and William William and Kate. Yeah, that's kind of where they're going back to, because again, they did not have Harry and Meghan to kick around anymore. And again, these are the same people that when Harry and Meghan, whether they were the ones feeding them to the press or they just stood back and allowed others to feed Meghan to the press, and later on Harry, and they did not say a word. Now nobody is rescuing them. Their kids aren't rescuing them. Their in-laws aren't rescuing them, and their in-laws are filthy rich. And nobody's saying a word to back them up. Nobody's saying a word to support them. And from where I'm standing is a firm slap down from the palace. And so nobody is rescuing them. And they are going to sit in their humiliation again. Comma, 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 comma. Y'all destroyed Meghan, and for years with this nonsense, this among all the other things, the bullying and all of claims and all of that stuff to try to destroy Meghan. And now you are sitting in a place of humiliation. Now, I don't take pleasure in people being in these places and being humiliated, but it's when you look at stuff like that, you're like, be careful how you treat people, because you never know when you're gonna end up in that situation, and you're gonna need the grace that you could have extended to somebody else. So, anyways, moving on from Carol Middleton. I saw this today. We all remember Jeremy Clarkson. Jeremy Clarkson writing that nasty article about Meghan back in December. What was it, December 16th or whatever it was, back in December, about dragging her through the streets and all of that stuff. And so we know that, the backlash that came with all of that. And also too, a lot of people were supporting him and attacking Meghan. And when Meghan refused to accept his fake apology, they were attacking her like, why couldn't she, why can't she accept it? And he's apologized and all of that stuff. And even the last time he so-called apologized, he sent an email to them on Christmas Day, addressed it to Harry, not Meghan. He still has not apologized to Meghan, And so, as you can see, the CNN Business is saying UK lawmakers call on the Sun newspaper to sanction Jeremy Clarkson for over violent misogynist article. Meghan article. Blah, I can't speak anymore. He has never been sanctioned. They pulled the article. He's never been sanctioned. What he does, he still writes for them. He still writes for Time, both of which are Rupert Murdoch news outlets. So he has never been sanctioned. He has had no consequences whatsoever. IPSO is still there, dragging their feet, hopefully waiting for everyone to forget about it, for them to drop that, no action will be taken, which is where they're going, which is what they do. So they are of no value to anyone. And so, but today, and it's so funny because I looked through his article and I couldn't find it where this was. Apparently, Jeremy Clarkson rushed to doctors amid scary news after losing his hearing. I was like, oh, and I think he's lost some deals and stuff, along with because of what he did to Meghan. But this is very interesting. Like, okay, maybe karma is coming in there as well. It's like, losing your hearing. And it's like, okay, I'm telling you, karma. And again, using their tabloid to, say what's going on in their lives, and so whether, again, this is the Express, so whether this is true or not, and again, I couldn't find it anywhere else, but I saw it here and I saw it on YouTube. There are videos about Jeremy Clarkson apparently losing his hearing. And so I was like, okay, even though I can't find it as, maybe karma and the ancestors are playing here as well. So again, y'all need to leave Meghan Markle and Prince Harry out of y'all mouths, because karma is going to come get you and the ancestors. So we will see, if he gets his hearing back. Jeremy Clarkson detailed his troubled week after the former Top Gear presenter has to now visit a specialist. So I guess whatever went wrong with his hearing, I wouldn't mind if something would happen to, like, I can't speak anymore, whatever. Again, I'm not wishing, that may be a bad thing to say. I don't want to wish bad things on people, but there you go. He's apparently, according to the Express, if you're to believe the Express, again, grain of salt, that he was rushed to the hospital after losing his hearing. Come on, Jeremy Clarkson, come on. What else? Philip Schofield. Yes, we know what's happening with Philip Schofield and what happened with Philip Schofield. Or Schofield, I keep saying Schofield. When Harry's memoir came out, one of the things a very frustrated Philip Schofield tell Prince Harry, shut up and crack on with the work after the memoir. And this morning's host, Philip Schofield, has urged Prince Harry to move on and shut up following the release of his bombshell memoir, Spare. No, back in January and stuff, he did not want to hear from Prince Harry. He's like, enough, shut up. We don't want to hear from you anymore. We don't want to know what we, those in the press have been a part of. We don't want to hear that we've been a part of destroying your life. We don't want to hear it. Now move on. Shut up. We don't want to hear you bring that up anymore. We don't want you to tell people that we were brutal to you. Shut up and move on, as all abusers say, and of course, him telling Harry, shut up. What happened a couple weeks ago, Philip Schofield says his career is over following the affair. And we all know about his, quote unquote affair, or quote unquote relationship with a young kid that he allegedly groomed when the kid was about 12, 13, around there. And there's been a little bit of a discrepancy at the age, whether it's 13 or 14 or 15, but he was quite young. Some say it's as young as 10. We have yet to hear from the young man, so hopefully one day he would either break that confidential agreement, or that runs out and he can freely speak about what happened to him and what Philip Schofield did to him. But Philip Schofield is no longer at this morning, as we know. He quit, or was let go, or forced to quit, because of the tension that was there when he, finally had to admit that about the relationship, which the majority of people who worked there knew what was happening. They all knew, and basically used that so-called coming out to cover up this quote-unquote affair with this young kid. And so yeah, and then we know that Philip Schofield then went on TV and went in the newspaper and all over, including using his own mother to try to gain sympathy. The same person, and he's talking about what happened to him. And then, all his friends are like, oh, please don't do that. Think of his mental health. He's a broken man. These are the same people again that didn't care what happened to Meghan and Harry. They didn't care when Philip Schofield told him to shut up. They didn't care about Harry's mental health, that he had to talk about what happened to him because it was affecting his mental health. They didn't care. Philip Schofield didn't care. But now Philip Schofield wants people to feel sorry for him. He wants sympathy. He wants people to consider his mental health and his well-being, while he didn't give that to Harry. But as Karma and the ancestors do, Karma and the ancestors came in and blew that mess up. And now he's out of a job, thinks his career is over. But coming to think of it, when you think of the British press, they fail up. I'm sure Philip Schofield is going to land at some other outlet. And who knows, he's been giving the Rupert Murdoch outlet all of these exclusives. So don't be surprised if he ends up, Rupert Murdoch pays him money to be on one of his have a TV show or something on his station. I think it's Talk TV is Rupert Murdoch outlet. So don't be surprised. This is how they work. This is how the British press work. They do stuff like this and they go to another state. It's like musical chairs. They just keep going around and going, something happens here, or they mess up, or whatever it is, they commit a crime or whatever. They just go to another outlet. And so, but in the case of this, Karma descended and blew that mess up. And it's embarrassing and all of that stuff that he went on. Again, he claims that it was consensual, and when the kid was an adult, it's we'll hear from the kid hopefully one day what happened. So anyways, Karma came in and took that one out. What else? Karma, our own Duchess of Success, posted this. Thank you, Anne. Posted this. Apparently this one from GMB, I guess he's one of the guests on the GMB, Ian Dale. He, all of those reporters that go on GMB and This Morning and all that, their whole thing is to mock, harass, abuse the Sussexes, come down. I mean, every negative thing that they could find to say, about the Sussexes, they will do it. And he was one of those. I guess this was one of his posts. Where's Meghan? No doubt she feels snubbed that the Princess of Wales was in an opening of Eurovision sequence. It's a plot, I'm telling you, a plot. Harry will no doubt sue. See, they're mocking Harry and Meghan, mocking Meghan for, I guess Kate made this guest appearance of Eurovision where, allegedly she was fake piano playing. So here they are mocking Meghan. GMB Row, Dale hits out at Meghan and Harry's video. It's not a royal thing to do. Whichever video he's talking about, it's not a royal thing. It's weird. It's like it's never a royal thing to do when Harry and Meghan does it. But then when Kate and William does it, nobody says a word. It's all of a sudden it becomes a royal thing you can do. That includes selfies and closing your own car door and all the other things, and dark nail polish and all of it that they claim. It's not royal to do when Meghan is doing it, And now when Meghan and Harry are doing it, but it all becomes very royal when the white ones are doing it in the UK. And so with him, he has a history of going after Harry and Meghan. But then karma steps in again. I don't wish any of this thing. I have find no joy in any of one's misery and all of these things. But again, karma usually steps in. So apparently he is in hospital. And it's like some news this afternoon. I tripped at the top of an escalator at Charing X Tube. I was taken by ambulance to St. Thomas and I have a badly broken hip replacement operation scheduled Monday. Superb care from all here. In the immortal words of Britney Spears, oops, I did it again. And so, yep, he is in the hospital with a broken hip. I'm telling you, karma, again, I take no pleasure in these people's misery, but it's very interesting that usually the ones that are attacking the Sussexes, stuff like this tend to happen. Again, keep Harry and Meghan's name out of your mouths. These people have not learned. They have not learned to keep their names out of their mouths. Because this is not the first time we're seeing this, not the second, it's not the third. This stuff like this to people who have been attacking them. This stuff like this has been happening all the time. Who else of that karma has descended on? And this one is a sad one because this one was a Harry really lauded him and really lifted him up and bring him to prominence and really honored him and supported him. And I mean, Harry was just all there for him. Ben McBean, he is a soldier. He's in the British Army. He's a double amputee. And when Spare came out, the British press, and that was a time when they got the Spanish version and they're translating it, and who Lord only knows all the mess they made of that translation. And obviously nobody had Harry's book as yet. Spare didn't come out. It was a week before it came out. This was Ben McBean's tweet. Love you, Prince Harry, but you need to shut up. Makes you wonder the people he's hanging out around. If it was good people, somebody by now would have told him to stop. This is a soldier telling a fellow soldier, fellow veteran, who is writing about his trauma to shut up. And insinuating that the people around him, I'm assuming he means namely Meghan, are not good people, or somebody would have told him to stop talking. And I remember tweeting at him and saying, shame on you to tell a fellow vet who is talking about, this is the thing you want them to do. You don't want them to shut up. You want them to talk. Because so many of them are committing suicide. So many of them are taking their own lives and living with these traumatic things where they can't, or just afraid to speak. And here you have one speaking, and your thing, because whether he said he didn't get paid for his interviews, whatever, but he got fame on it because the news outlets caught him and he did interviews. I think his interviews, he did a television interview basically going after Harry. And I think he did one with the Daily Mail. And yeah, they were happy to use him because there he is telling a fellow vet basically to shut up, And so I tweeted at him and saying, shame on you. Shame on you for doing that, And he was basically defending himself because I and a bunch of other Tories tweeted at him. I eventually took my tweet down because I was like, whatever. And again, he's a vet. He has, his right to his opinion, whatever. He's a double amputee. So I didn't want to, really go after him as I really, really wanted to. But it was disgraceful. It was utterly disgraceful. What he did and allow the press, not only that, but going and speaking to the very press that really attacked the Sussexes. And so, what was it? I think a couple of weeks ago, this happened. Ben McBean, a double amputee veteran who was called a hero by Prince Harry, said he fears he will lose his blue badge for a second time after a traffic warden reported him. So I think their blue badges are their disability, like a badge where I think they can where they can park and all of those things, basically like handicap parking and all of that stuff. And so he is now fearing, and I haven't followed up to see if he did lose it. And again, look, the guy is a vet, he's a double amputee, and I'm hoping, that he didn't lose it just because, not because he's deserving of my good grace at all, because of this nastiness that he did. But he did serve his country. He's a double amputee, and I don't wish any veteran any kind of service that would help them. I don't wish it. But you can also see karma is like, maybe next time you're the one that needs to shut up. You're the one that needs to consider what you're saying before you go and talk to the press against Harry, or go and be tweeting and telling him to shut up and insinuating the people around him, namely his wife, and other his other close friends and relatives, that they are not good people. I mean, how dare this guy, you know? And so it is just, and he was so arrogant when people were pointing out to him, just how wrong it was. And, he's just very, very, very arrogant. So believe me, it took everything out of me to have any kind of sympathy when I saw him, and he said he was going to lose his blue badge again for the second time. Because I don't know why he lost it the first time. But again, I'm like, yeah, karma is telling you to shut up. Karma is like, but again, I don't wish bad on him. I don't wish, I don't wish him to lose it. But, you can see how karma is working. You can see how karma work on those that for no reason go after attacking two people that did absolutely nothing to you. And especially the fact that Harry really called him a hero, and Harry supported him. I think he did like a marathon thing, and Harry supported. I mean, so much support. And for him to turn his back and do that to a fellow veteran was utterly disgraceful. And so again, karma, karma, karma. Who else has karma descended on? Yes, Katie Hind. You remember Katie Hind? Katie Hind, back in 2019, when Meghan did that interview for In South Africa, when she talked about, just how hard it was for her with the intense and abusive press, especially while she was pregnant, and the incredible abuse that that the press just doled out on her. And so when Meghan did that interview, you could tell she was hurting, she was broken, she was, postpartum, she was all of those things. Katie Hind decided to go and write, she can't understand why Meghan, apparently she met Meghan before, obviously Meghan met Harry. A few years, I guess, before, Meghan was in the UK. She was on Suits. She's there to try to raise her profile in the UK. And so her agent reached out to Katie and other agents, other news outlets around, to get Meghan in the paper. Is what actresses do. They're there to raise their profile for themselves and their show, to get better shows, to get publicity and all of those things. And yes, Katie Hind was working for one of the papers that Harry is suing now, the Sunday People. They were a part of the Mirror group that Harry is suing now. So she was working for them. And apparently Meghan's agent reached out to her to meet Meghan. And so she met Meghan, and, her and Meghan, talked, and then she put Meghan in her paper, and she claimed that Meghan and her talked about finding a British man, that Meghan loved the British guys and all of those things. She found it in to put all of this stuff that it seemed like it should have been off the record. I mean, I don't know, maybe it was on the record and whatever, but the way it's written is like she can't, because Meghan at that time was literally raising her profile for a show. She is upset that here is Meghan, who is not used to newspaper abusing someone. Is something very different, where an actress is putting, trying to raise their profile for a show and for their stardom or for their career, than to have a mother being abused for no reason by the press every single day, lie after lie after lie. And so because of that, Katie Hind went after her. And so obviously all the other tabloids picked up all of that stuff to shame Meghan, about some footballer that Meghan claimed that, it was after her. And so Katie Hind exposed all of that stuff that she talked with Meghan about when Meghan Was there, and so she has been really very negative about Meghan ever since, and so it was just all of this stuff because Meghan talked about, just how difficult it was, to be abused, and especially as a mother, as a first time mom trying to figure out a way and to be daily abused. And Katie's thing is, well, I can't reconcile that Meghan with this Meghan. And yeah, they're two different people at different times of their lives. So she really, caused a lot of abuse to come Meghan's way. Of course, all the other outlets, as you can see, Daily Express picking out Meghan Markle team all but begged the tabloid for exposure. Meghan begged me to get her into tabloids. Meghan denied. Meghan Markle begged me to get her in, basically the tabloids. And she, so she really caused a whole lot of hate, because for what she wrote. And so it was very satisfying for me. And I'm sorry, I don't feel sorry, it was very satisfying for me to see her outed as one of those people in Harry's court case, because and again, one of the outlets that's being sued right now is the Sunday People, which is a part of the Mirror News Group. And so this is a little snippet from the court case that's going on right now. It says, he said he's been talking to Carolyn Flack for weeks and had not told anyone else about their plans to meet. That's Harry. Given the fact that only 3 of us knew the plans, I was highly suspicious and convinced someone had leaked the information to the press. I now believe this information had come from our voicemails, mine, his friend Marco, or Caroline's. The impact those kinds of stories had on my relationships cannot be underestimated. Even those I trusted the most, I ended up doubting. And he goes on to say, photographs were later published in the People's newspaper, the Sunday People, alongside a story by reporter Katie Hind, the same Katie Hind, Harry's date with Gladiator star, which described Harry attending a lively party with Flack. Sherman later told the court about an email that Hind once sent to a colleague with the subject PIN numbers, which included a description of how to hack a phone from celebrity voicemail greeting website. And so for me, her being outed and her name being implicated in this hacking scheme, I mean, I had no idea that, that she was a part of that or allegedly a part of the hacking. And it was very satisfying for me to see her name come up there. And so it's just like, I don't know. Again, this is a civil case. And so I don't know what will happen to them. Are they going to, I don't know if they're going to proceed to criminal, because this is all criminal behavior. And so, but it was very interesting to see that, her name is now part of the hacking lawsuit. And so I'm like, comma, Katie Hind, comma, because she's always bragging about her, her scoops. I think she even, received an award, I think it was last year, for the biggest scoop for something that she revealed and all of that stuff. And, my thing is, where did you get that scoop, Katie Hind? So I'm glad Karma has descended to expose her as allegedly one of the people behind hacking. And so, I'm like, exposing them up, for their dirty ways. So this was very satisfying to see. I look forward, and also, we know a part of this story is also Rebecca English, and also I forgot the other reporter, Duncan. What is Duncan's last name? I always forget. Duncan something. Anyway, both of them are implicated in the same thing, with the same the same editor that she claimed that, I don't remember, P.S. Morgan injecting things into her articles, and she doesn't know where they came from. That same thing, she hired this guy from South Africa to get information about Chelsea Davy, and that in the same court case, that same reporter, and so that same investigator sent emails to Rebecca English and also Duncan. Duncan Lacombe, I think is how he says his last name, Duncan Lacombe. Letting them know that he got all this great information about Chelsea's flight, her flight number, her seat number, the date she was traveling, all of this stuff, and this is the same thing. And he also sent another email letting Duncan Lacombe know that he already charged Rebecca English. He already billed Rebecca English. These are the same thing. This is the same case that she is also, Katie Hyde is also implicated in. So very interesting, and I'm happy. I am very, very, very happy to see Karma has exposed her, so yes, y'all gonna leave Meghan alone. There you go. And this is another one that Karma seemed to be going after. And he seemed to have recovered a little bit, from the injuries now. It says, you remember him, Eamon Holmes, the one who called Meghan uppity. And then the last Jubilee, as you can see at the top by the Insider, a popular UK host, faces criticism after saying Harry and Meghan Markle should be thrown off the palace balcony. Yes, Eamon Holmes, threatening violence on Harry and Meghan, and some people are like, oh, he was joking. Yeah, you don't joke about throwing somebody off a balcony. And so no sooner did he do that, all of a sudden he, I think either he fell or something, but he got to a point where he had to be, as you can see in the picture there, he had to be in a wheelchair. And so you can see him, I think they were going to a football game and his son pushing him at the bottom there. Eamon Holmes is pushed in a wheelchair by his son as he battled chronic back pain. He also started suffering from shingles and all kinds of medical stuff that is happening to Eamon Holmes after he was so nasty to Harry and Meghan. I remember him on a radio show saying how much he hates Meghan. He's never met her, but he just hates her. He knows he would just hate her. I mean, this man is nasty beyond belief, And on top of the, the health issues, he was trying to get out of paying, full tax. He was trying to claim that he was a part-time employee, a freelancer. And so, the government was like, nope. And it's like the TV presenter Eamon Holmes loses appeal over tax ruling. The judge has upheld the tribunal ruling that he should be treated as an ITV employee for tax reasons, not a freelancer. So he cannot, he cannot get out of paying his full share of taxes. So that is also dropped on him. So he had been moaning about all this money that he has to pay. So who knows how he's going to do it, but he is not getting out of not paying his full taxes. So, yep, karma has definitely dropped on him. He was one of the ones, along with Dan Wooten, that was really condemning Philip Schofield, just a couple of weeks ago, before their fellow reporters slapped the both of them down. Ever since that, the both of them, Dan and him, have been mute on the subject. So very interesting. But anyway, that's for another time with that Schofield bit with them. But yeah, karma has definitely descended on Eamon Holmes. And so what else? Yes. Another outlet that karma has, or at least this outlet that karma has descended on, is very interesting because the Daily Telegraph has a very interesting relationship with Harry and Meghan because Harry is Brianna Gordon is one of Harry's close friends and confidants. And, Harry did the first mental health podcast with her, and that just blew everybody away. It was so popular. And she and Harry has maintained a great relationship. And then Meghan, and it turns out that Meghan was the one that, encouraged him to do that podcast with Brianna Gordon. And she and Meghan are great friends, really helped Meghan a lot when she was going through her mental health crisis. And she even came to California when Spare was being released, right after it was released, and did an interview with her for the Telegraph. So Harry has not sued the Telegraph. He has done quite a few interviews with Brianna Gordon, actually a couple of interviews with Brianna Gordon for the Telegraph. But the same Telegraph turns around and has been attacking. That's where Camilla Tomin works, and all the lying articles from the Telegraph. Telegraph, to the point where the Telegraph is the outlet that has been pursuing the U.S. government to kick Harry out of the US. They are the ones that's been pursuing and really working with that hate organization. I'm not even going to say their name in the US to try to get Harry's immigration papers released so that they can continue attacking him. The Telegraph was the one doing it. And when Harry talked about, psychedelic drugs that has helped him with PTSD and his mental health, they were the ones that they just went to town about that, and through that is where they hooked up with that hate organization. Even though there was another guy, and we did an episode about that, this other guy that they basically was saying literally the same thing as Harry was saying with those psychedelics. They not only embraced him, they even were promoting his business doing psychedelics, using psychedelics. And it's incredible what this outlet, this incredibly despicable what this outlet has been doing. And as you can see, these were some the headlines that I found, but there are so many even nastier ones, especially from Camilla Tominey. And if you remember, that is where that Meghan made Kate cry article started, because Camilla Tominey wrote it in there. So many other articles about Meghan, the mosque, that the Al-Manar Mosque, where the cookbook originated, where Camilla Tominey wrote that they were part of, they were terrorists. All of these things where Camilla Tominey attacked Meghan when she did the Vogue, when she guest edited British Vogue. All of those things were in the Telegraph. And along with these articles, Harry and Meghan catastrophe, a gap between fantasy and reality that you could drive a car through, and that was happening. The nonsense NYPD response, they're basically, trashing Harry and Meghan when, they got chased through the streets of Manhattan, calling it a fantasy, and basically claiming that they were lying. The Sussexes are frazzled, fraught, and lacking romance. And again, that was right after that the car chase incident with Harry and Meghan's wedding. They were trying to convince people that Harry and Meghan don't live together. Their marriage is breaking up. Camilla Tominey went to town with this stuff, and them and a lot of the other news outlets, claiming that Harry lives in a hotel and all of this stuff. The Telegraph. This is an article a couple of days ago. Laugh at Prince Harry to keep yourself sane. Mocking him, the fact that he is standing up to the press. And again, as we can see at the bottom, Biden must release Prince Harry's secret immigration records. Again, they were the one behind this whole mess. And it's incredible how despicable this news outlet is. And apparently this was a good new legitimate press, but it is just tabloid. It is just a tabloid cesspool. It is just like the Telegraph. It's just like the Sun or the Daily Mail. And obviously Camilla Tominey used to work at the Express, so you don't expect anything better from her. And then funny thing, karma has stepped in. Telegraph parent company face being put into administration. Speculation revived about ownership of the media group as talks with Lloyd over $65 million loan breaks down. Wanted buyer for the Telegraph, a 150-year-old politically and influential British newspaper has effectively been put up for sale. The Barclays, I think they're the Barclays that own this, they don't have the money for it. They are basically bankrupt. This whole thing is bankrupt. They are trying to sell it. I think they are kind of in the same place as Party Pieces. They're like in the same place. They can't pay their bills, and they're trying to find somebody to take this off their hands. And so it's very interesting. Honestly, if this goes belly up and bankrupt, I will celebrate. Any tabloid that goes bankrupt, and again, normally with people, I don't really celebrate, but I don't celebrate people's misery. But if these despicable news outlets goes belly up, I will celebrate, because they have destroyed enough people's lives, and Telegraph is no different. And so I am like, just let this thing die. a painful death. That's all I gotta say, you know. And maybe the reporters could actually go to journalism school and learn what it means to be a journalist, because they are not journalists, they are hacks. And so that is what they are, especially Camilla Tominey. Gross. So karma has descended on them. They don't have money to pay their bills. They're looking for somebody to buy their company because, again, they don't, they're looking for a $65 million loan. I'm like, whoa, that's a lot. So, anyways, thank you, karma. Let's see the same thing for the Daily Mail. Let's see the same thing for the Sun. I guess if they, and the Mirror, if they keep having to pay out all the money that they are constantly having to pay out almost on a daily basis, hopefully they go bankrupt because of this. Gross what they have been doing to people. So, anyways, that's it. That's all I got. I am just like, look, leave Harry and Meghan alone. I am so happy that, with us as in the squad, we're all about, supporting our faves. And I am grateful that karma and the ancestors step in and they say, no, we're going to fight for our faves, and you're going to, at least some of you, going to get a taste of your own medicine, as in, say, the Cambridges, But, I am happy to see the ancestors and karma step in and, pull the rug from out under them so they can, stop abusing people, using what is supposed to be journalism, what is supposed to be informing people, and using it to abuse. So, hey, thank you, karma. Thank you, ancestors. So that's all I got. Thank you guys so much. It's a little video. It's actually a little bit longer than I was thinking it was gonna be. But anyway, I guess I'm long-winded. I was just enjoy reveling in karma, and the ancestors doing their thing. Anyway, that's it. Thank you guys so much. Thank you to our moderators, our 2 Cents crew who support our channel, and also our Gold Star supporters. Thank you all so much for listening. And please pray that karma and the ancestors continue to stay on that island and dole out whatever medicine they want to dole out. Thank you, karma. Thank you, ancestors.